Today, we're talking about Rolex as it relates to the environment. But the thing that I've noticed, the common thread of all this environmental protests going on, this climate activists right now, is they're only attacking things of the wealthy. It boggles my mind that these climate protesters in England are defacing a Rolex store, because I very much believe, from being a watch person, that this Rolex is literally the most environmentally friendly watch any person can have. Are you guys actually fighting against what you think is causing climate change problems and the environmental destruction? Or is this actually more like a class warfare thing? What's up, people? Today I'm in my home garage. Now, yesterday I did a video relating to these climate activists or protesters that have been trying to vandalize beautiful Monet and Van Gogh paintings. They also vandalized a number of vintage Ferraris at the Paris Auto Show, and I've seen been spray painting storefronts of Ferrari, high-end cars like Aston Martin, and even Rolex watches, I believe in Hyde Park in England. Now, I looked up and saw that the groups responsible for this are apparently the Scientist Rebellion and I believe the Extinction Rebellion groups. Fascinating, because their logo is like a circle with an X, which is weird because I just watched the movie 1984 and it reminded me of the giant crowd of people going like this. That's neither here nor there. I'm not making a statement, but I think maybe their logo missed the mark with it. That's neither here nor there. Now, I very much care about the environment and animals and the health thereof, but I am also a massive car guy and builder, race car driver, etc. And I, like everybody else on the planet, likes nice things, but I also like pretty days and healthy animals and good weather. So I'm doing this video because they spray painted and vandalized a Rolex watch storefront, which is fascinating to me and got me thinking a little bit. Now, in my video yesterday, I was talking about the Omega card that I created, because a long time ago, I was doing a lot of research on different kinds of materials and giving consideration to different manufacturing processes that I thought we could make a more sustainably recyclable car that would be less environmental impact in the manufacturing process and inherently cheaper, which would be good for all kinds of people. And obviously low environmental impact is awesome, but would also be more efficient regardless of whether it's powered by gasoline, diesel, ethanol, or if it's electric or hybrid, doesn't matter. Would be more efficient. So that's what I was doing with the Omega car, and I was trying to offer that as a positive collaboration to leftist environmental groups like that, but also people right-leaning. And I mentioned Mike Rowe, Ben Shapiro, and Jordan Peterson. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody reaches out to me from the left environmental groups or some of these more conservative figures here in America. But let's forget all about all that. Today, we're talking about Rolex as it relates to the environment. Oh, I feel like that's not really been done, but I've got an opinion here, guys. Now, being a car guy, I was over at an old buddy's house the other day for a get-together, and it's interesting because real car guys and gals, it seems, are also into things like motorcycles, trains, airplanes, firearms, stuff like that, dude stuff. And we also love watches. Now today I am rocking my Tag Heuer Monaco, which is an automatic watch. And I like it because it's from a different time period, late 60s, early 70s, and it's kind of funky. It was like the first one with a square crystal to where it actually would seal for water. So it's kind of a neat watch if you like vintage watches and things. But that's not the subject today. Today it's Rolex. Now I actually have a Rolex, which sounds really snobby and stupid, but I got to thinking about it. So this Rolex that I have, I quite like the watch. I consider it's going to be a family heirloom and something that I imagine I will have as long as I live. Really neat watch. This is a Rolex GMT Master 2. GMT standing for Greenwich Mean Time. And I'm going to scoot up a little bit to the camera here. And the reason being is I can screw out the crown and easily click the hour hand over when I change time zones. So if I'm so fortunate as to get on an airplane or even riding a fast train or even a fast car and I'm busting across time zones, it's easy for me to just go click, click, click. Now, this watch is worth a lot of money, which is wild because I bought it a long time ago and it's actually worth about 3 times as much as what I bought it for. But that has absolutely nothing to do with the talk today. So the reason I bring it up is These climate activists, it's really sad because they're defacing Rolex store, vandalizing it, which will obviously cause a lot of effort to clean that up, and potentially using harsh chemicals that are bad for the environment to clean up their mess, which is sad because that's not helping the environment. But Rolex, is it Rolex bad for the environment and creating climate change? No. Actually, going further than that, I would say a Rolex is literally the most environmentally friendly watch you could own. Whoa, Casey, that's a harsh statement. Yeah, but I can back that up. Here's the reason I say that. A Rolex, to the people who don't know, has a mechanical movement. There are no batteries in this. This is not a quartz movement. There is a pendulum in the inside of it, which to a Rolex's dismay, I'm going to illustrate with my Tag Heuer because it has a skeleton back or a window in the back. Now, if you look at my Tag Heuer Monaco here, watch this. I'm going to spin this. Hopefully you can see that little pendulum that spins. See how the pendulum is moving? Now, what that does is, as I'm wearing a watch such as my Monaco here or this Rolex, which you can't see because it's got a tough stainless steel back, as I'm wearing, or anybody's wearing a watch like this, and you're moving around and doing your thing and jogging or race car driving or riding a motorcycle, whatever it is you're doing, maybe you're too lonely on the Friday night, that was off color, you are winding your watch, which is also kind of off color. Comment below. So the watch, when you move it around like this, it winds. You can also wind it with the crown. But what that pendulum is doing is it is winding a spring. And that spring stores the energy that was created by you, by your body. And that's what makes the watch work. So theoretically speaking, if the watch never broke or ever had to be serviced and you never took it off and you kept moving, that watch would tell time and keep moving until the day you die. And it would never need a battery or anything else. Think about that for a minute. Now, let's be real. So a Rolex is a finely crafted, tiny machine made to tell time, and it uses the energy from you and your body and your movement and transmits that into a spring. All those components can be serviced, they can be cleaned, they can be lubricated if it needs once every how many years, I don't know. It's made of stainless steel. This particular one, there are no animal products in it whatsoever, no leather. There are no jewels that might come from a conflicted part of the world using anything. And these are made in Switzerland. I can't think of anything in the makeup of this that really is bad in any way for the environment. In fact, it's kind of, I guess that's like vegan. There's no animal products in this. It's a machine. Now, this is one that has, forget about the worth of it. I don't consider this in any way to be a status symbol. I consider this to be a machine and a high precision and very tough, well-built one. This is something that has been my toughest watch I've ever owned. I work on cars, I wrench in it, I fix things. I've worn it surfing and swimming in oceans. I've worn this climbing the rigging of a tall ship. I've worn this in races, on cars and motorcycles and every day. And it looks good enough that if I need to put on a suit or a sports jacket, I go out, that's fine. Or I just wear it every day. This is a watch for your entire life. And when I'm not around anymore, I will give this to hopefully one of my children. And you know what? It's just stainless steel. It's just silver and black and red. I'd say that's gender neutral enough that regardless of what my child identifies as, this would be something I hope they would appreciate and love for a long time. And if you just once in a while service it, send it out to Rolex to have them clean it and lubricate it, it'll work forever and ever and ever. And you won't need, and unless you're a collector or more people, of course, I wouldn't actually ever have to have another one of these. And I can pass it on and on and on. But you know what? Other watches, let's call a spade, a cheap watch, something that's quartz movement, like I had when I was a kid. I know this box looks real fancy, guys, but I got some of the watches from when I was a kid. Let me show you this. Now, I feel a little bad. I'm not knocking on it, but this is a watch I had when I was like 10 years old. It's just a quartz movement. It's made of cheap metals and plastics and nylon. This strap comes from the oil industry. polyethyl terephthalate, I think, is the basic chemical makeup of this strap. And the plastics in it are derived from oil. It has battery in it that has to be replaced, and those batteries are thrown away. They have to be mined and made with much energy, and then they're thrown away, and they probably aren't very recyclable. And so this little cheap watch, let's say you own it forever, which is unlikely because it'll probably be broken and thrown away, will be a waste. A cheap watch like this is bad for the environment. Let's go a step further. I don't own a smartwatch. I don't, because I got a cell phone, I can look at my computer, I can do what I need. So I just don't need it. But a smartwatch isn't gonna last forever. They can service it and stuff, but there's a lot of toxic metals and mining and everything that goes into it. That's gonna be bad for the environment, really bad for the environment, like horrific, if there's millions and millions of smartwatches. Now, I get that companies like smartwatches because they gather a lot of information from people from them. And it's also fun for companies to know where people are at all given times and how they're moving and what they're doing. But that's not really my concern. My concern is the environment and doing something good. So where I'm going with this is, the statement is, it boggles my mind that these climate protesters in England are defacing a Rolex store, because I very much believe, from being a watch person, that this Rolex is literally the most environmentally friendly watch any person can have. I got to hand it to him. It's brilliant. And hopefully it'll be in the family for generations. So to the young people out there, with whether it's Extinction Rebellion, Science Rebellion, or whatever, guys, like, I love the environment. I've done things to protect it. I spent my younger years rehabbing wild animals, caring about the environment in general, trees. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. We actually promoted that stuff. You'd see that as kids. We cared. And, the reason I want to do the Omega car is, I like cool cars like this. But cool cars like this, they're not really a problem because you're not driving stuff around. They're more like crazy, cool artworks for racing and sport and fun. But I wanted to do something that would be great for people to be able to own and have their own destinies and be better for the environment. But when I see this here, I'm just so sad to see young people defacing a Rolex store. And I've got another big point I want to make. So one of the biggest challenges of the collector car and motorcycle world is simply enclosed shipping. I found a company called Diamond 7. They transported my prized 1931 Buick Phaeton, and most recently, my MV Agusta motorcycle I always wanted. They take incredible detailed pictures of your vehicle before it leaves, so you know exactly, and gives the comfort that they care. But more than that, I get real-time GPS tracking of the actual truck that my vehicle is on. Guys, Diamond 7. Go down in the description below, find the contacts. You can try somebody else, but trust me, after 20 years, Diamond 7 is the one to do. This young person says, that's why I've decided to take action. I can no longer sit back and ignore it. And this is Jennifer Kowalski, 26. This is on Bloomberg. I just looked it up, guys. Don't judge me on media. I just picked up the first thing that says, an environmental scientist from Glasgow said, we do this because we want to protect the things and people we care about. I'm not willing to stand by as refusal to improve life for everyday people causes my loved ones to suffer. Okay, I understand. That's fine and noble. However, why are you guys attacking things that don't make sense? The most beautiful oil paintings in the world, Van Gogh, Monet, worth tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars in a museum. Then you attack Ferraris, vintage Ferraris, at an auto show. And you're not even attacking the company Ferrari's booth. You're attacking what appears to be just private collectors. You're going after expensive luxury goods like Aston Martin and Rolex, which I'm telling you right now, a Rolex is the most environmentally friendly watch you can own. You're not throwing away batteries and stuff. You just one and service it and it works. It's like vegan, guys. There's no animal stuff in it. What the heck? The only thing that's more environmentally friendly in terms of telling time than a Rolex is like Big Ben, because everybody can look at it. Or just look at the sun and figure out what time it is. Come on, guys. But the thing that I've noticed, the common thread of all this environmental protests going on, this climate activists right now, is they're only attacking things of the wealthy, so to speak. Let's be honest, Rolex is a luxury brand, even a junky old one. I bought this used. I bought it on a used market. It was still expensive, but I figured I'd have it for a lifetime, and it meant something to me. And it turned out to be an amazing timepiece, and I'm really happy I have it. but you're attacking things like Ferrari and oil paintings, and they're not actually causing the problem. And I have to ask the question, are you guys actually fighting against what you think is causing climate change problems and the environmental destruction? Or is this actually more like a class warfare thing? Because that's what it looks like to the rest of the world. Because I asked myself, you know, there's lots of people that are middle class and poor too that are screwing up the environment. Why not go attack the people like burning tires in their backyard or like dumping oil down a sewer? You know, there's a lot of other things in the world. Going after things that are expensive that aren't actually hurting the environment seems kind of dumb and not true. So I ask you guys, what are you actually doing? Because when I read the definition yesterday, the definition of protest is a statement or action expressing disapproval of or objection to something. Protest. Let me type in one other here. The unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in the pursuit of political aims. Terrorism. Guys, I appreciate the environment and the sentiment there, but I don't think you're going about this the right way. Again, I'll go back to my video yesterday. I invited the green or left-leaning groups such as Scientist Rebellion and Extinction Rebellion to reach out to me. Maybe we do something positive relating to my Omega car effort. If you don't want to, that's cool too, but like I care. Maybe we talk about stuff. And I also did that for right-wing or conservative people here in the States like Mike Rowe, Ben Shapiro, and Jordan Peterson. And there's others I could get with, you know, who knows? Maybe like Dan Crenshaw or JP Sears, the comedian, would want to do something. I don't know. And if nobody does, that's cool too. But I had to bring it up. And to Rolex, the company, hey guys, in Switzerland, hey, you want somebody to talk about it? I'll tell it. Rolex is the most environmentally friendly watch you can buy. And you're only going to need one for the rest of your life. So even if it's more expensive, it's still worth it because your children are going to have it, and your children's children are going to have it, and your children's children's children are going to have it. And guess what? As time goes by, they become worth more money. So there comes a point where it may have been difficult to acquire the Rolex to begin with, but then it gives you a return. And that's pretty neat, isn't it? Help the environment, having something great for many family generations to come. That's brilliant. That's one of the best things I think about the European culture is they have wonderful things that last generations and generations, like beautiful oil paintings that everybody gets to enjoy. Oh, right. Unless some angry young people with dyed hair that think they're saving the environment by destroying a painting or artwork ruins it for everybody. Whew. Okay, well, that's all I wanted to say. I don't know. Maybe Rolex wants to get involved and be behind what I got going on teaching with the students in Genius Garage, or maybe the Omega car racing. And if Rolex doesn't want to do it, hey, there's other automatic watches that are mechanical, like Tag Heuer. That's pretty good too. Let's use our heads. Think about what's going on. Is this really the best action or not? Or is this just an excuse to beat up on an upper class or create class warfare? I don't know. I really don't know, but it doesn't seem to me that these climate activists are actually doing something that will help the climate or the environment. You know, but what do I know? Yeah, I just look and observe and listen and think. Maybe it's that last thing we're not supposed to be doing. But we should do it anyway. I'm American after all. See you guys.